Have you ever felt like you're just stuck in a holding pattern? Like you've been through this really intense battle, and yeah, you're still standing, but you're just waiting for the next set of instructions. Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating idea that speaks right to that feeling. We're going to explore the concept of a new spiritual season, a time where, according to Vincent, divine revelations are being unsealed and brand new assignments are being handed out. So our guide for this entire deep dive comes from the work of Vincent over at Revival Waves of Glory Ministries, and specifically his book, Divine Reassignments. Now, it puts forward this really powerful idea that we are living in a totally unique time, a time where God is releasing brand new personal strategies directly to people who are ready to hear them. It's a pretty profound concept, so let's break it all down step by step. All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll set the stage with this idea of revival waves. Then we'll get into a really crucial prep phase called the time of hiddenness. After that, we'll look at the breakthrough moment of unsealing the heavenly scrolls, really understand what a divine reassignment is, and then finally, we'll lay out a super practical path forward based on Vincent's teachings. Okay, so let's kick things off with the big idea here. The central premise that Vincent presents is that this is not a time for spiritual business as usual. Nope. Instead, we're in a period where new direct revelation from heaven isn't just possible, but it's expected. It's this call to listen more intently than ever before, with a real sense of excitement for what's about to be revealed. And this is where you really get a sense of just how big this idea is. Vincent points to Matthew 13:35, and he argues, this isn't about little tweaks or minor course corrections. We're talking about God opening up mysteries that have literally been sealed since the very beginning of time. It's a huge call to get ready, because spiritual territory that has been completely uncharted is now being opened up for us to explore. So you might be asking, how do you even get ready for a shift that massive? Well, according to the book, it often starts with a period of really intense struggle, what he calls a time of hiddenness. And it is so important to understand that this is not a punishment. It's actually a vital phase of preparation for everything that's coming next. I mean, this quote is just perfect, right? It's so relatable. It just captures that feeling of being battered, bruised, and completely worn out from a long, tough fight. You've taken the hits. You are so tired. But the most important part is you're still on your feet. Vincent suggests that if that's you, that's a key sign that you've pushed through and you are right on the verge of something brand new. So this time of hiddenness has some really specific markers. It's that feeling of being a polished arrow, like it says in Isaiah 49. You're totally prepared, you're ready to go, but you're still hidden away in the quiver. It's that deep feeling of just enduring a long and difficult time, of being worn out, and maybe even starting to think, has all my hard work been for nothing? But Vincent suggests these seasons are actually forging a strength and dependency in you that are absolutely necessary for what's next. And this is where you kind of have to pause and reflect for a second. Have you ever been there? In that place where it feels like every door you push on is locked, every path you take is a dead end, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. Well, the book proposes that if this sounds familiar, it's actually a reason to get excited, because a sudden, dramatic shift could be right around the corner. That period of frustration is often the darkness right before the dawn. So what happens after you've been through all that? Well, this is the breakthrough. This is where the whole concept of unsealing the heavenly scrolls comes into play. It's the moment where the struggle gives way to strategy. It's when God provides a new, personal, and totally unprecedented plan for moving forward. It's like being handed a custom-drawn map just for your journey. So let's get really clear on what he means by this term, heavenly scrolls. He's using it as a powerful metaphor for divine strategies and assignments. And look, these aren't just vague, general ideas. They are specific, tailor-made plans with mysteries that are being revealed right now for this time. The really key thing to remember is that while these new strategies must always line up with the Bible, they represent fresh ways to apply it and new revelations specifically for the world we live in today. This slide just lays it out so perfectly, the old way versus the new way. The old way might have been looking around, asking other people what worked for them, and following the same paths everyone else has already taken. But this new revelation, it's about getting a map directly from God. And you can't just ask someone else for directions because, as the source says, no one has been down this road before. It's a call to have the faith to navigate uncharted territory with guidance that is personal and direct to you. These are some pretty deep concepts with a lot of layers to them. So if any of this is really resonating with you and you want to explore the source material and teachings from Bill Vincent for yourself, you can just visit revivalwavesofgloryministries.com to get a lot more information. And that leads us right into the big idea of the book, the divine reassignment. See, once you've gotten your new map, your heavenly scroll, it often comes with a brand new assignment. The idea here is that in this season, spiritual gifts, callings, and responsibilities are being reshuffled and handed out in a really significant way. So that brings up a really important question. Why are these assignments suddenly up for grabs? Well, Vincent suggests that it's because many gifts, callings, and what he calls spiritual mantles or responsibilities are being laid down or just left unused by the people who originally got them. And this creates a sort of spiritual vacuum, an opportunity for God to reassign those roles to people who've been prepared in that hidden season and are now willing and eager to step up. And this quote from the book really gets to the heart of why this is all happening right now. The author suggests there's been a cultural shift where many people have become more like passive receivers instead of active participants. Because of that, Vincent argues, there are these stockpiles of anointings and callings just sitting there, which opens the door for a divine reassignment for anyone who's hungry for more and ready to get in the game. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? It's a really powerful spiritual idea. But what do you actually do about it? How do you apply this to your life? Well, the book doesn't just leave you with the theory. It lays out a practical, actionable strategy you can use to get yourself aligned with this new spiritual season. Let's break those steps down. So here it is, the 3-part strategy Vincent recommends. First up, take communion daily. See it as a consistent act of faith and remembrance. Second, pray specific scriptures, like Psalm 139, and actively ask God to search your heart and show you anything that might be off. And third, pray for revelation based on Jeremiah 1:11, specifically asking God to expose any of the enemy's plans. It's a daily practice of getting aligned and staying spiritually ready. And to really drive home how powerful this kind of approach can be, the source material points out that this type of preparatory prayer is being used in a lot of different settings. The book mentions that public figures have used similar prayer strategies, and even that this kind of prayer has become part of the routine in places like the White House. This is all presented in the book as an example of how widely the principle can be applied, suggesting that strategies used in these really high-stakes environments can be just as powerful in our personal lives. You know, when you boil it all down, the entire message of divine reassignments is just one of profound hope. It totally acknowledges the struggle, that feeling of being hidden, those seasons where it feels like you're working for nothing, but it reframes it all as necessary preparation. The final takeaway is this powerful declaration that no matter how hard the past has been, it has only been preparing you for what's ahead. It's a promise that the best is yet to come. And that brings us to the end of our explainer on this fascinating topic. It's a framework that really connects personal struggle to divine revelation and brand new callings. If you want to dive even deeper into Bill Vincent's books and his teachings, you can find a lot more at revivalwavesofgloryministries.com. Whether you feel like you're in a time of hiddenness right now or on the verge of a new assignment, the core message here is one of really hopeful expectation. Thanks for joining me to explore these ideas.